just wanted to open the video sitting up. I know I haven't made a video in many, many months sitting up. So here I am sitting up for the people that are naysayers, that don't believe anything I say. I'm sitting up, not propped up, I'm just sitting. It was really nice to put this shirt on today. I haven't had this shirt on since practically I got it, because it was so skin tight when I got it that it was uncomfortable, but now it's very, very roomy. That's going to be a nice thing, finding clothes in my closet that actually fit now. So I just wanted to open the video, no filter. It's me, it's April 4th, and now on to my video. No matter who you are or what you look like, that doesn't give a nurse or an aide or anybody in the healthcare positions to talk about you to other patients or in front of other patients where they can hear. That is a huge no-no. I don't care who you are, however much you don't like me. There's no way of getting around that, or there's no way of justifying that at all. Zero. So when I was admitted to the facility, when I arrived, you're put in a unit. It was a quarantine unit. Regardless of whether you had the COVID vaccine or not, you were put in a quarantine unit. And then you stayed there in the unit until it depended on if you had had the shot or not. The shot, I think you only stayed there for 10 days, or maybe it was 5. And then if you didn't, it was 14 days. So I was on that unit for 14 days. And then I was transferred off of that unit into a regular unit in the rehab facility. While I was on the quarantine unit, I met this nurse's aide, and she was very sweet. She treated me very well. She always asked if she could help. There was nothing she ever, she didn't do anything wrong. She helped me, and she was very attentive. So I can't complain about the care she gave me. There was nothing that she did wrong. And let me just add before I go any further, I was never in a position where anyone had to roll me, lift me. I never put any burden on the nurses or the aides, because I was always mobile enough to move myself in the bed, so they didn't have to heave me or exert themselves to any extent. So that's just one thing. So, I mean, she was very kind, very friendly with me. She showed me pictures of her kids. She talked about how she was upset about the girl that her son was dating, that she wanted to break them up because she didn't want the girl to ruin her son's life. And she showed me her Halloween costumes. And I mean, it was just a very friendly rapport we had. So this one day, I was on my side, of course, of the room, and my roommate was on her side, of course. The curtain was drawn because I was getting cleaned up, and she had brought me towels and stuff. And my roommate was getting physical therapy, and the therapist was in the room with her, working with her. And so this said nurse, this said aide, well, she was an aide. She brought me my towels and whatever else that I needed. I don't know what it was. And she went around the curtain, and she was talking to the therapist. And like I said, this part had nothing to do with me, but it started me thinking oh, okay, this person isn't quite what I thought she was. She started complaining about how exhausted she was. Now, not putting that aside, I get being an aide is an exhausting job. My mom was an aide for a very long time, and I get the exhaustion. I understand how grueling it would be, especially to take care of so many patients, being so understaffed. And then also taking care of bigger people that need help being rolled and moved, especially that are less mobile than even I am or was. So I get that there is a burden, and I get that they're tired. Not taking that away from anybody at all. But she started complaining about that. Then she started complaining about this other patient. And when you're there for a while, you can, you hear the nurses talking in the hall about other patients, not badly about them, just you hear them talking about why they're there, who they are, and whatever. So I knew the person that she was, I don't know her, but I was, I don't know what the word you want to use is, recognized who she was talking about. And this other patient was a very large patient, not as big as me, but in the ballpark. So I guess there was an incident where the aide had her in the shower room. I'm not going to tell you the particulars of her health, of what's wrong with the patient, because that's going way beyond. Even though I'm not mentioning her name, I'm still not going to mention her issues. But she's, like I said, she was very large. And the aide had her in the shower room, and she was giving her a shower. I guess the patient complained about the aide wasn't washing her properly or the way she wanted to be washed. So the aide was complaining to the physical therapist while she was in my room. She said something about, I'm not going to stand there and lift her folds and wash her well, because she doesn't care how clean she is. That's why she ended up here with sores all over her body. So that was the first thing, that was very inappropriate to stay in a patient's room where two patients can hear you, what you're saying. Very inappropriate, I think. I mean, anybody would think the same thing. There's nowhere in the world that anyone would agree that that's acceptable behavior. I don't care how much you dislike fat people or me or whatever, it's just not acceptable. So I kind of started thinking, oh, she kind of maybe doesn't like fat people, or I don't know, which isn't shocking, again, but, whatever. So eventually that was a couple weeks before I was transferred off of that unit. So I was transferred off of that unit and onto another unit. I think I was on that unit probably for a week or so, and this same aide had came into my room. The curtain was drawn. If I had said hello to her, this incident would have never happened. So, like I said, I was on the other side of the curtain. She had no clue that it was me over there. So she started talking to the family member of my roommate about how tired she was and about how tired she was taking care of all these fat people. She started going into, I have a 300-pound patient, a 400-pound patient, and then I have this 600-pound patient. And I was like, probably me, because I don't think there are any other 600-pound patients here. Maybe there is, and I just don't know. I don't know. So right away, I started, my first thing is to cry. I started getting a little weepy right away. And so she went on. She said that she told this woman's family member that I just told them straight out that I'm not going to take care of her because I'm not going to hurt myself caring for her. And then she went on, and even more than that, she went on to say her boyfriend comes every day to take care of her, and I don't know who would want to take care of something like that. I can't tell you how devastated I was in that moment. I started crying and sobbing. I was going to speak up and say something like, oh, guess who's on the other side of the curtain? But I felt awkward, so I didn't. And I was crying uncontrollably. And even though I get those kind of comments on YouTube, I'm used to that and they don't bother me. But I have never, ever had someone say that about me in public that I at least that I've heard them say. If this woman wants to talk badly about me or anyone else in private to other people, that's her prerogative. That's her right, and there's nothing wrong with that, even though I think it's uncouth and you shouldn't do that. But, that's her decision, that's her choice, what she says behind closed doors. But you don't say that in a patient's room where there are other people can hear you, and especially to a patient's family member. It's just unprofessional. in every sense of the word. Like I said before, I don't care who you are. There's no way of justifying it. So, of course, I was very upset. I stayed kind of quiet until she left the room. Then I started really crying, like sobbing loudly. I had a nurse come and ask if I was okay, because she was like right outside the door and she was concerned about me, wondered if I was all right. I said I was fine. I didn't want to tell her if there was something wrong. Then I called my cousin and I told her what had happened. I just needed someone to talk to. I was upset. So my cousin called the facility. She was completely just beyond angry. And she told the nurses, the charge nurse, she asked to talk to the charge nurse and told her what happened. Immediately, the nurse, the charge nurse, and the floor nurse came to see me. They thought it was an aide from their wing, from their unit, but it wasn't. It was just somebody who had been there visiting, still on the job, just from a different unit. And so they were devastated. They couldn't believe that someone had acted so unprofessionally. Come to find out that she's not that well-liked of a person there. Quite a few people do not like her. That aside from the fact it's, whether they like her or not is irrelevant, I guess. But I guess it just plays into the kind of person she really is. But they were just devastated that it was so inappropriate, and they apologized profusely. And they immediately went to speak to her. The charge nurse did, the head nurse of the facility. And the nurse asked me, she was such a kind nurse. She was an overweight woman too. And she said, I'm hurt as well to know that somebody spoke to you that way, because she said, I'm overweight as well, so I take offense to that as well. So she said to me, it's your decision whether you want to make a written statement about this, or you can just let it go. It's your choice. She said, but I would encourage you to report it, make a written statement, and go forward with it, because nobody should be talked about like that by an employee while they are on the job. So I was, she encouraged me to do it. Of course, it was my decision, but she thought it was the right thing to do as well. So I did. I reported it. I made a written statement about it. Do I feel bad about it? Absolutely not. There's no part of me that feels bad about what happened to her. So to get back to the story, they talked to her. Then a few minutes later, I heard them on the loudspeaker of the facility paging her to come to the supervising nurse's office. Then she came back to my room, and she came around the curtain, and she stood at the end of my bed. And this is the part that really made me very angry, is why I don't feel bad. If she would have came to me and said, I'm sorry, I was talking about you, it was inappropriate, I shouldn't have done it, I apologize. She wouldn't even have to apologize, just say it was very inappropriate and it shouldn't have happened. If she could have just left it at that, I would probably feel, okay, she was sorry to some point, whatever. But she stood at the end of my bed. She started rubbing my leg, like she was kind of trying to console me, like she cared. She said, I just want you to know that I wasn't speaking about you. I was talking about somebody else. I was I wasn't looking at her because I didn't want to look at her. I just didn't want to make eye contact with her. But when she said that, I looked over at her and I said, do you think I'm actually that stupid? She said, oh no. She said, I have another 600-pound patient, and I was talking about them. I said that their boyfriend comes every day to care for them. She said, oh yeah. I was flabbergasted at her, like, blatantly lying. Like, we all know she was talking about me. There was, like, no way to get around it. So that angered me, is the blatant lie is what angered me even more. So I said to her in a nice way, I said, you can leave because I have nothing more to say to you. So she just kind of stood there and looked at me for a minute, and then she left. Turns out a few weeks later, after I don't know exactly what all happened behind closed doors. I just know that she was suspended without pay for, I don't know if it was a week or 2 weeks. I'm not sure. Inadvertently, or I guess inadvertently is the word or whatever, but I was sent back to that unit when I got COVID, so I was on the isolation unit again, and she was caring for me once again. She never mentioned the incident. I didn't mention it. She was very kind, very professional, and that's just how we left it. Wasn't mean to her. She wasn't mean to me. We just let it go with that. So that's the story of what happened to the aide. Like I said, don't feel bad at all for what happened to her. She deserved it. She was wrong for what she did. And then it was even more of a slap in the face that she lied about it in the end. I will say that I am very happy that the facility was very quick to discipline her and to correct the situation. I can't complain about that either. And like I said, it was just inappropriate and it was uncalled for, especially talking about another patient as well, as not just me. I never told the other patient that. I have spoken to the other patient when I was there. We were, kind of friendly towards each other, but I never told her that because I just didn't feel it was appropriate to throw her under the bus again. So yeah, that's the story. And I don't know if I would say I'm proud of the fact of how she was disciplined. I just don't feel bad for her at all. It was her bad decision. I mean, everybody knows better. You don't talk about a patient while you're in another patient's room. And you just don't do that kind of thing. So I don't feel bad. That's just the reality of it. So there you go. That's the story about that. So I'm going to let Gene talk a little bit about his feelings about this whole situation, because this has been hard for him. It's been a long 6, 7, 8 months now. God bless him for, putting up with this. That was another reason why he wanted me home ASAP. Because he didn't want me there anymore. He didn't want to see me being mistreated. He wanted me to come home while I was still at the hospital, not even going to the rehab facility. He just wanted me to come home with home health and home PT. If I would have listened to him, I would have been way better off. I didn't listen to him. I wish I had have. But I guess hindsight is always 20/20. So yeah, Gene was right in that situation. 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 Gene was right. So now I'm going to hand the phone over to him, and he's going to tell you his thoughts, his feelings on the whole thing, and then I'll be back when he's done and kind of wrap it up.